been exactly 1 year. 1 year since the unpleasantness made everything go into lockdown. That is not the case any longer. It is not. People of Earth. Today's adventure is coming to you from Lakeview Cemetery, where today I'm going to tell a few stories. One specific story, then a few along the way. So, the adventure begins now. Join me. Why not? Somewhere in this area, I don't remember where, there was a monument that was torn down on the 4th of July, 2020. And it was a Confederate monument to the dead of the Civil War, which always kind of struck me odd because we're in, Washington. That I never quite understood why there was a Civil War monument here. Understand, I want to pay tribute to the dead. And it was old. It was paid for by the Daughters of the Revolution, or granddaughters, I can't remember exactly which. But the interesting thing about this monument that is no longer here, and I can't remember where it was the fact that carved. It was made out of stone, carved from Stone Mountain, Georgia, where they have giant Confederate Rushmore, basically. And just kind of interesting that I didn't remember that beforehand until it got torn down. And like I said, it was somewhere in this area. And I have no idea where it is. I keep looking until I get to my main destination. So, this is one of my favorite places to be. One of my favorite places to come. Just on a regular, daily basis. It's very peaceful. It's very nice. My beard looks a little weird. It's nice and warm. It's a little, maybe too warm. I overdressed. And, we've got plenty of time. Another hour and a half. So I'm going to keep looking. And then, eventually at some point, when I go up that way, we're going to get to my main story that I came here to tell today. So, let's keep going at it. Do you want ants? Because this is how you get ants. Every time I come here, I'm always looking for this, and it always takes me a second. But here's why I came here. Which I've done a video on this before, but I'm going to try and be a little more in depth about it now. This is why I came here. There it is. Mary Ann Conklin, Mother Damnable. That's what about flowers for it. Mary Ann Conklin was born in 1821 in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And by the time she was 20, she had married a man named William Conklin, who was the captain of a whaling ship in Alaska. And Mary Ann Conklin, well, she was kind of a brash woman. She spoke 5 different languages, apparently liked to swear in 5 different languages. And at one point, her husband abandoned her in Port Townsend, so she decided to move to a tiny little village then known as Seattle, where she opened the very first hotel on Felker Street. So, Mary Ann Conklin, she built this house that became a hotel that some people thought was basically a brothel. It was a brothel, the top floor. So, Mary Ann Conklin opened the Felker Street Hotel, which eventually was a brothel. The Felker Hotel, one of the first hotels in Seattle. She was born in 1821, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. Let's go. The Madam Who Turned to Stone. The Felker House burned down. Okay, well, the Felker House, which was the first hotel that Mary Ann Conklin owned, burned down in the Great Fire of 1889, but that was a considerable amount of time after she had died. She was known to throw rocks at soldiers. She was a very tough lady. There's not a whole lot known about her. There are a couple of good stories that I've used as research, and I'll put them in the link in the description down below. But my favorite thing about this story, and weirdly I just found out about this within the last 2 years, was the fact that this is her third grave. She'd been previously buried in a cemetery that is now Denny Park. And the second time she was moved to a cemetery across the way that is now Volunteer Park. And this is her final resting place. So, this is her third and final resting place. When she had the Felker Street Hotel, it was during the Indian Wars, and she had hedges around the place, and the local government wanted her to take them down so they could see the enemy coming, and she wasn't having it. She just refused to do it. Eventually, she relented and took them down, but her reason was she didn't want people to walk by and see her women doing what they did in her brothel. But she eventually relented, took the hedges down, and, you know, by all accounts, she was a tough lady. Like I said, the first hotel in Seattle, she was the one that built it. Also, that house was brought here on a boat by her sort of second husband. But she died in 1872, I believe. I think this is the wrong death date. But as I was saying before, this is her third resting place. And the legend is, when they dug her up, either the second time or the third time, they noticed that her body had calcified and turned to stone. And yet her features were completely normal, and she looked completely normal, other than being made out of stone. There's a similar story like that called The Soap Lady. I'll link that down below too. I'm probably going to do a video on the Soap Lady. She is in the Mutter Museum in Philadelphia. Now, there's no pictures, there's only just written accounts of the fact that she was turned to stone. But, by all accounts, most people believe it and think that it's true, and I'd like to believe it. It'd be pretty interesting. They say she weighed 1,200 pounds when they dug her up and found that she had turned to stone. But she got the name Mother Damnable because she was a tough lady. She would take shit from anybody. Like I said, she used to sick her dogs on the soldiers and throw rocks at them anytime they got out of line. And there's a couple accounts of soldiers writing down that they were kind of frightened of her. So it's a story that I guess some people that live in Seattle know. I lived here for years until I found this out, and I've been coming to this cemetery for years until I just recently found this out. Like I said, within the last, 2 years, maybe last year, before the unpleasantness. I don't know, but I like that there is, somebody left flowers for her. She was a pretty interesting woman, and like I said, give that article a read. I'll put the link to the article in the story down below. And yeah, I'd like to come visit her. The first video I did when I came to visit her, which is probably, it's there somewhere. on the channel if you scroll down. I remember spending an hour and a half looking for her, and I finally gave up. I knew I was in the right vicinity, but I finally gave up. I looked at my camera and I said, I'm going to turn my camera off, and I guarantee you I will probably trip over it. And when it happened, it was standing about right here, and I put my camera in my bag, pulled out my water bag, stepped back a few feet, and bang, I was right on top of it. The problem is she's kind of indented in the ground, so she's kind of hard to see. But then I remember that she's by the Eng gravestone, and that reminds me of Cheng and Eng, the Siamese twins from the circus, even though that's not them. They're buried in Ohio, I think. So it always takes me a second to find her when I come up here. When I do, she's the main grave I usually visit. Other than, well, I usually stop by and visit this other person's grave every time I come here, and today's going to be no different. So, we're going to venture on a little further before the cemetery closes. Anyway, Mother Damnable is pretty awesome, and you should read the story about her. It's interesting, it's little known Seattle history that people don't talk about, and I personally love the story. Alright, let's go and venture further, shall we? Okay. A nice, leisurely stroll through the cemetery. It's nice out. My beard looks a little weird. It's warm. Have some wine. It's what I usually like to do. It's just pan around. It's nice out here. Really, it is. Okay, off to the next location. So, the very first vlog I ever did was I came here to visit this grave. Grave of none other than Bruce Lee. And they just recently remodeled it. This is pretty interesting. There used to be hedges here. Now they put in a ramp, I suppose, for whoever wants to come check it out. For wheelchair accessory. Look at that view. Ah, yes. Love it here. So this is all new. Yeah. Just kind of recently rebuilt all of this. There it is. There's Brandon. The very first vlog I did came up here, and it happened to be July 20th. I'd say 2018, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I'll bring in full circle. I always kind of pay my respects every time I go up here anyway. It's a neat setup. It's kind of hidden. There used to be a giant shrub right where this wall is. There's the dedicated stool. This just happens to be a grave that's kind of, I guess, stuck here, sort of. But it's a neat place where you can just kind of relax, pay your respects. Nice little moment of silence. But yeah, look off in the distance. Logan. That's me, bub. since lockdown. And what an insane year it's been. Not been a fun one. It's been a year. And I didn't do half the things I said I was going to do, but I'm going to start doing them now. And when I say it's been a terrible year, it's been a very terrible year. Personally speaking. For me, at least. That's alright. I guess maybe things will get better. I don't know. It's too dark to tell. It's definitely very dark. Very nice place to hang out. It's really warm up here. Gives a lot of shade. I really like it. I like the shade. I got food on my hoodie. Totally forgot about that. Alright. That's a little better. I can work with that. Well, that's going to do it for today. Thanks for joining me. Maybe I can stand in the sunlight. Is there any sunlight here? Can't find any sunlight to stand in. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for joining me. Hit like, hit subscribe. Or not. And until next time, you enjoy myself. Vlog